Minecraft has a lot of items in it. Some are incredibly useful, as we saw in the tier list, which is sitting over there, and some of them really aren't. So, in today's video, I've put together 3 farms that are just kind of useless in Minecraft. So, we're going to start over here with the Glow Lichen farm. So Glow Lichen, if you didn't know, unlike vines, can be bone meal to grow. So if I just flick this lever, it starts growing down, and then all I have to do is change to survival, and then hold down the left click button, and it essentially just produces a whole bunch of Glow Lichen, as you can see what I'm doing now. It's kind of useless. Glow Lichen is pretty good for decoration, but other than that, there's nothing for it, and you can kind of do without it on most builds. It's only very specific cave builds where it comes in handy, so this farm's just kind of useless. It uses a lot of bone meal, which, if you've got a skeleton grinder, like I do on Argus, it's pretty easy to fuel, but otherwise, it's just a bit of a pain. So, that's the first one, the Glow Lichen farm. Kind of useless, kind of pointless, but I mean, it's good if you like Glow Lichen as a decoration block. So, you know, it's a pretty easy farm to set up too. You have to make sure that all the blocks around this dispenser can't be grown onto, so I've just done that with buttons. And then you essentially put a comparator clock back here, which is running from a chest that has 1 item in it, and a lever here, which you flick on and off to turn on and off the farm. So as you can see, the clock out the back is now running, and you can see that bone meal is being consumed, or it would be if I was actually here. I hold down the left click button, I produce a whole lot of Glow Lichen, you can see it filling up my inventory now, and then when I'm done, I just come up here and flick this lever off. The buttons are there to essentially make sure the Glow Lichen always grows to this position here. If, for example, I took out this button and this piece of Glow Lichen, I turn this on, you can see it grew around the side here, but then it's less likely to grow down into this bottom space. So you have to essentially block all the Glow Lichen from growing on every other surface except for the one you want to, which is this one here. So let's move on to the next farm, which is this, a Seagrass farm. So I'm just going to go around the back here and turn it on. You can see the seagrass has started growing. Then I hop into this minecart, hop in, and I just hold left click once again. Now this farm's pretty easily AFKable, but it uses up a lot of shears. As you can see, I've already half used these shears. But it also does produce a lot of seagrass, so I'm just going to go back here and turn it off. Now, just like the previous farm, it uses an awful lot of bone meal, but seagrass is one of the most useless items to farm in the entire game. If you think about it, seagrass is only good for 2 things: decoration and for breeding turtles, to get scoots to get your helmet. Your turtle helmet. The thing is, the turtle helmet is only good until you get respiration 2. Then it's just kind of pointless. And, well, for decoration, I can just walk around with bone meal and bone meal the bottom of whatever pond I've put together to get a whole bunch of seagrass there. So it's just kind of useless. It's also a bit of a pain to set up with all the water, and I'm not sure how to do an item collection for this, like maybe run a minecart hopper across the top here, or have hoppers on top, but it's just a pain to set up, and I just wouldn't recommend it. It's not a fun farm. You can get it pretty easily from pretty much everywhere. So just go out and harvest it yourself. You're not going to need much of this. So putting together this farm is just kind of useless. And the other thing is, it also uses a lot of bone meal, just like that farm over there. Now the mechanism is exactly the same. Comparator clock running off a tile entity with 1 item in it, and then this lever that turns it on and off. The only thing I need to note is that, unlike that farm over there, which doesn't use bone meal when there's lichen actually grown, this farm here uses bone meal every single time this goes, so it's even more wasteful than the previous farm. Now we'll move on to the final farm of the day, which is pretty much the exact same kind of or style of farm as these 2 over here. Uses a lot of bone meal, same mechanism out the back here, and it is the Fern farm. So if I put these ferns into my offhand and I flick this lever here, you can see that the ferns grow, and then I break it, place, break, place, break, place, and you can see that the number of ferns in my offhand is going up. And essentially what's happening is when I place a fern, grow it, it grows up to 2 high. then you can break it with shears, and it will drop both the top and the bottom fern, essentially producing 2 ferns from 1. The thing is, ferns just kind of suck. They're only really good for terraforming. I use them a lot for terraforming, but I don't need a farm for them. I just have to go out to a spruce biome, and like the tall spruce biome. I don't know what they're called. Go out to a tall spruce biome and collect some, and then bone meal the ones I need. I don't need to put up a farm for it. Kind of useless, not gonna lie. Like, that's the point of the video. All these farms are just kind of useless. But yeah, it's just, this is the most useless thing I could think of. I was scrolling through the items in creative mode to see what I could produce that's just really pointless, and I saw, you know, the glow lichen, yeah, that's got a possible use. The kelp, yeah, it's got a possible, oh, that's not kelp, that's seagrass. Got a possible use. This is a pointless farm. Do not build one of these in your base. It's possible, but it's just boring and uninspired, and it just produces a really pointless item. Let's turn this on again and see. The other thing is, it's kind of a pain. You have to be present for it, because if I hold down the right click button, it actually doesn't produce any extra ferns, or it produces ferns a lot slower. So essentially, you have to left click, then right click, then left click, then right click, and it just becomes a bit of a pain. You could write a macro for it, but I mean, I'm lazy and I don't want to do that. So essentially, you have to be here to work the farm, which also makes it even more pointless. So that's all I've got for you today. 3 pointless Minecraft farms. You can produce these items with a farm, sure, but you don't need to. It's kind of pointless to do so. That's essentially the point of this video. Now, if you want to see some of my other videos where I've created some of these contraptions, for example, the tileable shulker box sorter, that thing up there sorts shulker boxes by what item is inside them. You just have to designate filters. I've got a tileable shulker box loader, which you've probably seen. That's sitting over there. You've got a piston door, a vertical flying machine piston door, which is over there, and an iron farm, which I'm still upgrading. Spoiler alert. Up there, and I've got a few other videos that you can see from this area here. But that's all I've got time for today. Bit of a shorter one, but a bit of a fun one for me to put together, because I like figuring out useless things to do in this game. So, thanks very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video, which will be Argus Survival. So, have a good one.